Hello, all. This is Deborah Razzo, the founder of the Women's Real Estate Network, and I'm here with a fellow real estate investor, Jennifer Maldonado. Jen Maldonado is what we really call her, and she and I have invested side by side for years. But recently, this girl has gone big. The girl has exploded, right? And I wanted to get her on to talk. She's going to be one of our speakers at Ren's SOAR event in March in Phoenix. And I wanted to talk to her about the process of going big. Because Jen, I mean, from an outsider's point of view, you just like exploded. What happened there to change things for you? What are the victories? What were the challenges? I want women to be able to understand what that process is about.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I love the SOAR because that's what happened in my life when I decided to make that change from having a single family home of $140,000 in Bakersfield to the multiple hotels and different projects that I have running. I think that the process start with you with your right mindset. And when I made that decision, I remember taking a business mastery class with one of Tony Robbins at one of the Tony Robbins events. And for the first time, I realized that my vision could have happened. And it came to the numbers. That was the first thing. Seeing the numbers, seeing that it was possible for me right away changed my mindset. And at that point, I say, okay, I need to have a personal vision and I need to understand why is that I want to do this? When is enough and when do I need to go for more? And I think that I was in that process of making that decision. And when I made that decision on that event, I knew exactly what I needed to get done. Through the process of going big, I find out that for me there was like five main things. The first one is capital. Capital was a limitation. And as you know, I love raising capital and I learned how to expand my network of people to reach more investors, to share with them what we were doing as a team. The second thing that happened, right, and I mentioned it, it was the team portion. The team, when I'm talking about the team, I'm talking about one, you need to learn how to select your partners. Some of the biggest challenges for me as I was going through this growing process, the biggest pains and the biggest pleasures, right, of growing has been one, having the right people in place, having people that they're experts at something, they really know what they're doing, they know more than you. And that was one of the biggest lessons. When you're going to go big, you really need to start looking up of who is in there and how can I partner with that person. So for me to go through that process, it took a while to understand that when you really want to go big, you need to stop thinking that you're going to control everything, you're going to make all the decisions, and that you're going to be managing everything. So going big means becoming a better leader, becoming a better partner, knowing who to partner with, and also understanding that at that point you need to start establishing some roles and responsibilities because things are not going to go in your pace, right? And there's that fight of a slowing down or going too fast. And at the same time, finding a good, happy medium with that partner on how to move things along. And at the same time, if you don't have the right partner, and that was my first experience when I start going big, then you're going to have a project that even if the project looks profitable on paper, there's a big risk that it cannot become profitable. So, and this is when having a lot of drive, having a great network of people that can help you move that project forward, it's important. But I will say that partnership for me was one of the biggest one. It has given me the biggest lessons, the biggest pleasures. I have been very grateful for the people around me. I will say that without them, it would have been very hard to really do that push, especially during the difficult times. So that's one of those. The other thing for me going big, Deborah, is understanding risk management. So risk management, it becomes pretty critical when you start managing the big zero numbers, right? 100,000, $1 million. People say, who cares? Yes, who cares, right? But when you start hitting those big numbers, now you need more people to help you perform. You need a team. You need more systems in place, internal controls. It becomes a real business. Your skill level as a leader of the company has to be, bump. You have to learn, you have to grow as a business leader. If you're not willing to do that, then you're going to be the bottleneck or the top of your business. You're going to be the one getting in the road, as a challenge instead of prompting the business to grow.
Mm.
But I think that those were some of the biggest lessons for me going through that process of finding the right partner, setting up capital.
I think that thank you for sharing those three because I really appreciate it. But I think that something that I've seen from an outsider who's watched you explode. I mean, for those of you that don't know, she owns multiple hotels now in the Phoenix, Arizona area. And it's just all come together in the last few years. And and seeing that, what I've also seen in you is persistence.
Mhm.
It's like, and I think that a lot of people think, oh, it's easy in some ways for somebody else. And the fact of the matter is, it's not easy, but that person has dedicated themselves to pursuing it. And that person is dedicated to finding the solutions to the problems that they're facing, right? Whether it be partner problems or capital problems or operational problems. There's a persistence involved, and I've seen that in you, and I think that it's magnificent. Tell us a bit about the victories and the challenges. Like,
Yeah.
what does that look like?
Yes, definitely. You know personally, very, very at a deep level, some of those.
Yeah. I
From
think one of the challenges you mentioned was partners, picking the right partner. This is something I agree about. There have
right,
been partners that I've done things with that I've laughed the entire project and we've made a bunch of
money.
money. And there have been partners that I can't wait to end the projects with.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's as you mentioned, Deborah, and I want to tap before we jump into that about something you mentioned. Persistence is important. When people ask me how do you do it, it's pretty simple. I'm not a real estate investor. I'm a problem solver. Whenever I have a problem, we're going to find a way, either me using other people's knowledge, working with them, getting feedback. It has been a very humbling process to go big. If you really want to go big, you really have to put your ego in check and your experience in check all the time, because until you don't do that, you're not going to learn new things, right? So everything you know that you think you have to keep it up, yes, but also be open to bring new knowledge, skills, acumen, whatever you want to call it, mindset, right? And to your point, the mindset portion on how do we work with partners that they just give us headaches. That's when you know you have the wrong partner, right?
Yeah.
When you feel that, or all the workload, it's on you. When
Mhm.
things are not getting done. And that's one of the realities of this. If you don't define roles and responsibilities and who is accountable for, this is going to be a challenge, and that was one of my biggest challenges. Not only that, but also having people that they know what they are doing from a operational standpoint, from a legal standpoint too, because if the operations go down, then it's on the operator. But if the operator or the partner doesn't know exactly the legal consequences of their actions, then also that can take you into very challenging roads and dark paths.
Right.
So that was one of the biggest challenges and lessons learned for me. But what has happened after that? What was the big wins?
Mm.
I met amazing people through this process. People that really know what they're doing. It has opened opportunities for me and my team to grow to even the next level, right? We have a couple of hotels. Yes, now we're going for the bigger hotels. We're talking about over 10 hotels in a portfolio.
Mm.
And this is just the beginning, right? But why we are being bold, why we're doing that as a team? First, we know that we trust each other and we know what our skills and strengths are. And I think that that has been the biggest win. The time to take some um, time to take some insights and figure out who do I want in my team, who do I have, and hey, I do have a great team. Now what we are missing. And my big win is to bring and attract these people to do what we're doing. So as you mentioned, we can have fun.
Right.
Um, and we
Right.
can laugh
And
and make money.
celebrate, right?
Yes,
And
yes, we
celebrate the
celebrate.
victories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're like celebrating. Hey, we signed that contract. Great, awesome, a lot of money. Next. Right? Yes. And
Absolutely.
yes, and it's more also the systems too. It's the biggest challenges for, and maybe you know about this a lot. You coming from a solopreneur to growing your business, at that point, you need to create systems to pass your knowledge, make sure things are done, but also allow other people to bring their brilliance to make your processes better and understand. One of the most uncomfortable situations for me is it was to step back and let control go for a minute and allow the people that have the experience and all the knowledge to handle certain situations in our operations.
Yeah.
Not necessarily I agree 100% with what they were doing, and it was like driving me nuts, right, as a leader. And at the same time, you need to let people know at least it's going to cause a mistake, really big one, right? But just the fact that I trust them, the fact that they manage it, the results was even better. So understanding that just because you have a solution, it doesn't mean it will be the best solution. You have to be willing to grow and grow with your people and let your people do what they do best. And I
Well,
think that was great.
it's interesting, Jen, because you kind of started out talking about this, about mindset and about
Mhm.
making a decision to go big. And I think that it's interesting because as simple as that is, it's also a challenge because you have to make that decision. And you're also talking about growth and trusting people and that kind of thing. Really, I could capsulate this in mindset, right? Like it's all about growth and mindset and learning and problem solving. Now, do you have any specific practices you use personally to continue your, great attitude or your mindset, and when you're looking at your daily practices?
Yes, definitely. One, take time off.
Okay,
It's
just for
the
those of
way.
you who don't know, she just got back from vacation.
Well, it's pretty interesting because I took this time and I think I mentioned this to you. I dropped my cell phone at the lift when I was going to the airport, and it was a blessing, disconnecting from everything. Also, trusting my team, leaving all the tasks delegated to everybody so I can enjoy my time off and come back with more energies, more focus. And I start noticing when I need time off because I start getting like grumpy and I start getting into the leadership. My leadership becomes very direct, like get this done in this way, no
Yeah.
other way.
Black and white. This is
Black
this.
and white,
Now,
there's
now,
no
not
room for
later.
growth. And that will cause a lot of uncomfort, right? And I'm like, yes, I need some time off. And
Yeah.
then I came back from vacation with a different perspective. My practice during the vacation is just to enjoy the time. But here's one of my practices. Every time I get into a plane or every time I'm in a different place, in a different moment, I take some time to write on my journal what was my lessons learned and what I want to do from now on. Because in order for you to grow, you need to become the person you need to become in order to achieve everything else. So technical stuff, the underwriting and all of those great details, they're great, but that's the easy part. You are the challenge, right? And that's when you need to say, who do I need to become in order to get there, to that goal, to that vision?
Right.
And when you do that decision and you understand the changes, you humble yourself, it's like, okay, this is what I really need to do. And this is the people that I need with me. So, and
Who
I
you need
think
to
that was
surround
the
yourself with,
switch.
right? Who
Yes.
you need to surround yourself with. Who do I need to become, and who do I need to surround myself with? And I'm just going to share with our audience right now. Jen and I have been in several situations where we're making things up as we go. We jokingly call that building the plane as we're flying it.
Yes.
You know what? It's great. It's great to be able to laugh and to bring some levity to these situations where we are, okay, we're experimenting. We're not quite sure what we're doing, but we're just going to move forward, right? We're just going to, stop waiting to have it all figured out. Right?
I love that. Yes.
So we're just going to move forward with that. And, and it impacts us personally, right? It impacts, how we think about things, how we reflect on things. Are we going to look at it as a learning, or are we going to look at it as a failure, right?
Yeah.
I look at things as a learning. So do you. I mean, whatever we do, it's all a learning. And, and how does it impact us? How do we want to go forward? How do things impact us personally?
Oh my
Right.
God. Yes.
Now, I know I've been in a situation where my personal life has suffered because there's been, work has been a lot. I've been stepping up to challenges, and there's times when I've allowed time for my personal life to blossom. How's that been for you?
Um, really? Do I have to ask?
Sorry, we're getting real with our girls.
No, I gotta be pretty like raw and forward. So I did my goals, right, for this year. And all my goals for the business were mostly achieved, right? But then I noticed that my personal side, I was so focused on business that I lose sight of what I really want for my life, right? My personal life, like for example, I was like, I need to get a boyfriend, and I have a sneaky note. I'm like, yeah, another 6 months gone. I need to get in the best shape of my life. Well, I just need to maintain the best shape of my life, right? So time becomes very limited, and this is when you really need to start taking a step back and see what is important for me, right? What do I need to change in order to have the times and the things that I really want to do, right? Because yes, real estate business is thriving, but how is my personal life? How I'm prioritizing my time? So I lost a lot of time through this process, learning with different challenges I have. Second, I just took the lessons of it and say, okay, how can I do better next time so it doesn't eat my time and I can really balance what I really want in life.
Right.
Because one of the biggest challenges for me was to really step back and let people do what they do best, so I can go and get myself a boyfriend. I can go and self and do some workouts, so I can spend time with my family, with my friends, because suddenly I saw how it suffered. My friends start texting me, where are you? We haven't talked to you in a while. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm doing real estate to have freedom, not to make real estate my boss, right? And that was for me. It's like, stop, boss, stop. I gonna fire you again if you do this to me, right? But I also need to do what I need to get done. So it impacts
I
my
think I just got to say, I think that's brilliant. I mean, because I think there are a lot of us who got into real estate for financial freedom. And, I have to say I did the same thing, and I'm a little obsessed with it.
I will come back to.
It's part of my family.
Well, it is. I have to tell you this. All of this time, I'm like, yeah, I don't have addictions. And then looking for it, I'm like, well, let me rethink this again, because real estate can be fun, can be highly profitable, can be amazing if you really shape it that way. And if you start
And
establishing
addictive. Can we add addictive?
addicted, I will
What
admit
am I
that.
gonna do this weekend? I think I'll hang out with Zillow and Redfin.
Well, or I'm going on vacation. Ooh, can we stop in a realtor's office and figure out the market? I did that. I did that. And it's like, oh my God. And it's like,
Stop.
it's like, no, go have fun.
Where does the boyfriend fit in?
It's like, well, he comes to the vacations with me. So it's just been an interesting journey.
Yeah.
I think that, for people looking to go big, Deborah, yes, you're going to have personal challenges. It's going to change the way that you manage your personal life. But you just need to be very clear all the time and take time to step back and say, what is really important for me, and make adjustments. That's one of the first things. Going big, you need to know that you're not going to know everything. You're going to make mistakes. This is what I always tell people. You're going to make mistakes, but as you mentioned, perspective will be important. How can I turn this in a lesson that will allow me to keep growing in a very different way? So,
and I think that we started off is how I'd like to end this, and that it's a decision.
yeah.
It's a decision. Going big is a decision, and whether you want the financial freedom, the time freedom, the luxury vacations, whatever it is that you're looking for, why should you let a bunch of zeros get in the way? Right? Because going big is just more zeros, and it's a decision. And we've talked about risk mitigation here, risk management, and how it affects us and how to grow from it. And I think that is a beautiful lesson, and I can't wait to hear more at Ren Soars. So if you're interested in hearing more, if you're interested in surrounding yourself with women who really want to have this real conversation about going big and what it's about, join us March at Ren Soars. Go to www.rensoars.com and join us there. It's just a 2-day event. One day we'll be all in the classroom listening to people like Jennifer who have hotels. We'll be listening to Alyssa who has apartment complexes, self ground up development. And then day 2, we're going on a bus tour and we're going to visit some of your places, right? It'll be great. It'll be great. So go to the link below and join us in March. And thank you, Jen, for spending some time with us.
Of course. Looking forward to see everybody there.